Hello everyone, this is part 4 of What If Naruto Had a Proper Teacher, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to see more comment down below. By rigorous training. Naruto and Sasuke threw themselves into their training routine with a vigor that surprised even Kakashi. Both of them had felt that the mission to the Land of Waves had slowed down the training because they couldn't push themselves to exhaustion every day. With the weights on, they would run miles, do hundreds of push-ups, crunches and exhausting calisthenics. The jutsu training wasn't slacking off either. Sasuke had the Chidori down perfectly and Naruto had mastered the futon, repusho, wind release, gale palm. Naruto could summon the chakra and race through the hand seals in under a second. Even blunt kunai that Kakashi threw at him at combat speed could be countered with the jutsu. Sakura continued her conditioning but wasn't as crazed as the two boys were. Instead, her focus was on genjutsu. She drank up the additional training Kakashi had provided and she was close to pulling off the Magen, Kokoni Arazu no Jutsu, demonic illusion, false surroundings technique. The C-rank jutsu was rarely used in combat but was often used as part of the security around a shinobi camp while they traveled. Kakashi had used the jutsu while the team had traveled to and from the Land of Waves as an extra security precaution. Kakashi had pored over potential missions that were near Konoha. One particular one caught his eye. There was a rank C mission that had a group of bandits that had made the base only 2 days out from Konoha. What made the mission interesting was that the bandits had operated there for some time but only recently had become bold and actually attacking heavily armed caravans. The only reason it was listed as a rank C mission was because no shinobi had been identified as part of the band. The Jonin knew that something had to explain the bandits' new aggression. By scanning the other missions, he gave it a high probability that a missing nin had joined the band. This missing nin wasn't foolish enough to use jutsu in combat and draw attention to himself. Kakashi reviewed the list of missing nin that had recently left the villages and identified a likely candidate. A Chunin-level shinobi from Takagaku, Hidden Waterfall Village, was the most likely candidate. According to the most recent bingo book, he was a skilled Chunin possessing higher than average tactical talent. Tomori did not have any documented elemental affinities or skill with ninjutsu. He was however quite skilled in taijutsu and kenjutsu. Takagaku had a mission listed as a B rank, the return of Tomori alive. Bringing him alive would be worth 3 times the paltry bounty that was currently listed for him. Interesting, could be several reasons for this, ranging from a relative in a position of power or he has information that someone in Takagaku needs. Team 7's goal would be to make the capture and wipe out the bandits, completing a rank B and C mission at the same time. Kakashi didn't particularly care about the additional income, but it would prove a solid lesson on being aware of what was happening. A simple C-rank mission had led to Zabuza and now another C-rank mission would lead to Tomonori, who was no Zabuza but would be much more dangerous than bandits. Kakashi informed his team of the mission, both parts of it. Officially they were only going on a C-ranked mission, however Kakashi's instincts told him he would find the missing Chunin with the bandits. He explained the reasoning to his team and they looked excited. Even Sakura was eager to get out there. The fact that they were to bring the Chunin back alive was even better in her mind. Bright and early the next morning, Team 7 was ready to go. They removed the chakra seals on their weights. Kakashi meant for them to travel light and fast. After leaving sight of Konoha, they began racing through the trees. As was typical, Naruto's clones surrounded their formation, giving the team an added layer of security as they traveled at near top speed. The plan was to push as far as they could on the first day, allowing them to hit the bandits on the evening of the second day. Finding the bandits would be very simple. That many people made tracks in an area that everyone but Naruto would be able to locate. And even Naruto, who had missed that lesson in the academy, could just flood the area with clones until the bandits were found. That night Sakura helped with the camp's protections. She used Magen, Kokoni Arazu no Jutsu, demonic illusion, false surroundings technique to hide their presence. Kakashi gave her a nod of approval. Very impressive, Sakura, you captured all of the details perfectly. Most Chunin don't make their genjutsu techniques that flawless. Kakashi of course was thinking of the Chunin exam trick on the wrong floor to weed out genin who weren't ready. That genjutsu was not nearly as detailed as the one Sakura had just completed. Sakura beamed at the compliment, proud that she was useful to her team. It was even nicer that Sasuke-kun was in earshot when Kakashi had recognized her. The night passed without incident, and with Team 7's speed they were able to get to the bandit-infested area by noon. Kakashi was the first to spot the tracks of a large group and he had his team follow. Soon enough they spotted the bandits camped in the distance. Based on the number of tents, the band numbered about 70 to 80 criminals. Kakashi told Sasuke to use his Sharingan to see if he could spot their quarry. Sasuke took a careful look and then whispered to the team, "I didn't spot him, but one of the tents has a genjutsu over it. I'm betting that's where Tomori is." "All right, Sasuke, you know the mission parameters. Kill or capture the majority of the bandits and capture the waterfall missing Nin alive. You make the plan and we will execute." Sasuke didn't see this mission as too difficult, however he knew Kakashi would be testing him. Sasuke would have loved to test himself against Tomonori, but that wasn't how Kakashi liked to do things. He wanted the mission completed with minimal risk. "Here is the plan. Kakashi, you have the best stealth abilities. You'll sneak a clone into the camp and wait for us to make our move. Naruto, you'll flood the area with about 50 clones. Make sure they stay far enough away not to draw attention. In 10 we'll let the clones charge out. Then the 4 of us will advance and eliminate any pockets of strong resistance." Kakashi gave Sasuke a nice smile. The plan was exactly what he wanted Sasuke to do. He was under no illusions that this was Sasuke's preferred way of doing things, but he would settle for his acquiescence. Naruto made the required number of clones and they began to fan out. As of yet the bandit camp had not been alerted of the imminent attack. The Kakashi clone easily slipped into the camp and waited by the tent with the genjutsu on it. The attack began with a tide of orange katana-wielding Naruto screaming their heads off. The bandits were shocked but quickly drew weapons. Blades, spears and a few bows were their primary weapons. Bandits were often made up of failed genin. Some were dropouts from the academy. Others were disgraced samurai or just village toughs. The failed genin were perhaps the most dangerous, but disgraced samurai, depending on their skill with the blade, could also pose a challenge. It became immediately clear to Team 7, however, that the majority were trash. Most of the bandits never even got a blow in. The Naruto clones had almost as much speed and skill as the original. And despite being new to the blade, he was simply faster than his opponents. A perfectly executed cross-cut could be dodged before the blade even came close. The counter-attack by the Naruto clone would either be a fatal stab, slice or a non-fatal bludgeoning with the hilt to the head. There were however a few isolated areas of resistance. One area had a samurai who wielded his blade with enough skill and speed to dissipate a clone. Naruto pointed him out and Team 7 literally blew him away with their jutsu combination. Sasuke and Naruto's wind-fire combo actually popped a half dozen more clones but ended the samurai's disgraced existence in a fiery explosion. Meanwhile the Kakashi clone saw its prey exit the tent. The clone sprung out at top speed. To Tomonori's credit, he actually blocked the first attack with a hasty draw of his blade. He instantly used the substitution jutsu to get away, but the Sharingan saw it all. Kakashi instantly used the body flicker technique to stay right on top of the Chunin. Tomonori slashed with impressive speed and strength, but it was to no avail. The attack was parried with a kunai and then Kakashi was on him. He grasped the waterfall Nin's neck and applied pressure to the carotid artery. Tomonori knew he only had moments before he lost consciousness. His struggles were in vain and soon he collapsed unconscious. The rest of the bandits broke and fled, scattering in all directions. They ran headlong into the Naruto clones that had circled the camp. A few escaped, but the vast majority were killed or incapacitated. After everything was taken care of, they had a band of prisoners they would need to march to the local police force. They kept Tomonori unconscious with a mild coma-inducing poison that Kakashi had concocted. Sakura asked if they would be going to Takagakure to drop off the missing Chunin. Kakashi shook his head. Negative, the mission was originated from there, but drop-off points included our village since we are allied with them. I don't intend to take you to any of the other villages right now. Even if we are at peace right now, it doesn't mean there aren't shinobi spying on each other. We believe we know who watches Konoha, but our intelligence is limited with Takagakure. They team accepted this and proceeded to drop off their prisoners and then return home to Konoha. That evening Naruto had difficulties sleeping. The deaths of the bandits were necessary and it was done in the heat of battle, but the sheer number, and the burnt bodies afterwards. Just thinking about it made him nauseous. Kakashi saw the boy's inner turmoil and addressed it. You know what you did was necessary. Hi Kakashi-sensei, but I can't get it out of my head. The attack me and Sasuke hit them with, it burned them so badly. I remember when you first showed us the attack, I was so excited to use it in a real battle. Now that I have, I almost wish I never learned it. Kakashi let the boy's words hang in the air. Naruto punched the ground. Why do I feel this way? They were murderers and scum, they deserved what they got. They killed people, they tried to kill us, what we did was good. The elite Jonin thought about his words and then answered, you're human Naruto. You have compassion for other people. As long as it doesn't interfere with your missions, that's fine. Like I told Sakura, it gets easier, just make sure that you never come to enjoy the killing. Naruto had a shocked look on his face, who could enjoy that? Kakashi grunted, you'd be surprised. What we do puts strain our minds, it affects people in different ways. Some turn to drink to suppress their memories. Others cease to care about anyone not from their village. Others revel in the power they have. Some say a good shinobi have no emotions, I disagree. Emotional decision-making on the battlefield is foolish, but to be without emotions is to cease to be human. Naruto wrapped his arms around his own shoulders and shivered. Naruto had wished to deaden his feelings when he thought about the burning agony he inflicted on his enemies. But the way Kakashi said the word human resonated with him. If he stopped feeling, stopped caring, would he become the demon the villagers thought he was? Naruto dug into the core of his being and pulled out the determination and never give up attitude that defined him. I won't lose my emotions, Kakashi-sensei. But I won't quit either, I'm going to be the next Hokage. Kakashi smiled beneath his mask. Naruto was going to be just fine. Both he and Sakura were accepting of the harsh reality that was shinobi life. You killed people. He wasn't concerned about Sasuke. Sasuke had experienced death up close and personal when his entire clan was massacred. The deaths of others would not bother him unless he had a close bond. Kakashi considered this an actual asset to shinobi life, as long he did form those close bonds with the team. Kakashi wasn't a fool. He knew Sasuke was doing what he wanted in order to get more training and not out of his own personal desire. Going to the ramen stand with his teammates was just a way for Sasuke to show he was willing to play ball. Kakashi was willing to give it time, but he was also in quandary. The quickest way to form close bonds is to truly depend on the team. Sasuke needed to save his teammates in battle. He needed his comrades to save Sasuke. That is how lifelong bonds of friendship and trust were forged between shinobi. However, Kakashi was unwilling to put their lives as risk at this early juncture. The more often someone's life was as risk, the more likely they were to die, a fairly straightforward perspective. Kakashi's goal was to bring that chance to as close to nil as possible. One day Kakashi would not be able to watch over them during a mission, one day they would have to face threats that would demand Kakashi's full attention, but he needed them trained up before he would allow those risks to occur. It was a dilemma with no immediate cure. The journey home was quick and Team 7 was praised for the good work. Kakashi did not include in the mission report that Team 7 knew they were completing a B-rank mission ahead of time. He also left out the elemental jutsus his team used. He did verbally inform the third Hokage of all the actual details. Hiruzen wasn't pleased that Kakashi had sent his team out on a probable B-rank mission, but considering how it turned out, there really wasn't much of at risk with Kakashi personally handling the Chunin. Team 7 now officially had over a dozen D-rank missions under their belts, 1 C-rank mission, 1 B-rank mission and 1 A-rank mission. For a fresh Genin team, that was rather unorthodox. Granted, both times they had officially set off on C-rank missions. One had remained a C-rank mission that was done in tandem with the rank B retrieval mission. The other C-rank mission was removed as a C-rank and made an A-rank due to Zabuza's presence. With his team safely back within Konoha, it was time for even more training. Kakashi would keep his team within the village for the next 2 weeks for some heavy training. The paths for each of the genin were laid out in his mind. Naruto would improve his blade work while continuing to rapidly increase his weight to maximize his speed and strength. While he pushed his body to its limit over and over again each day, his clones would be working to refine his chakra control even further. Sakura was to master at least one combat-worthy genjutsu. Magen, Narukumi no Jutsu. Demonic illusion, hell viewing technique, was not useful against shinobi, though it was handy against non-shinobi threats. And for testing fresh out of the academy genins, Kakashi wryly thought. Once Sakura mastered strong genjutsu, his team could easily and quickly take out threats. If she could hold the enemy in the genjutsu for just a couple of seconds, the kill could be delivered with the fire-air jutsu combination or even a close-in chidori from Sasuke. Beyond the genjutsu focus, Sakura would also work on improving her taijutsu. No one expected a genjutsu user to fight well in hand-to-hand. While she would never be as good as Naruto or Sasuke, it was still a needed skill for her. Sasuke now had enough chakra to successfully use the shadow clone technique, though he would only be able to create one clone and the lifespan was short. It would never be the training technique for him as it was for Naruto. However, Kakashi wanted Sasuke to use it in combat. Being able to deliver a front-line attack with a clone while you stayed back was just common sense in Kakashi's book. It would also be a good training tool in the fact the Sasuke clone could watch Sasuke spar, and then when it dissipated, Sasuke would be able to reflect on how he performed from his own perspective. Kakashi would also be training Sasuke's body hard. The Sharingan allowed Sasuke to see Jonin level movement easily. Now his body just needed to keep up with his eyes. Plan in place for his 3 genin, Kakashi decided to enjoy a few rounds with some of his former comrades in Anbu. He wasn't particularly close to any of them, but they had served together doing the most treacherous and dangerous missions. While they couldn't go into details, they could certainly enjoy the quiet, and not so quiet depending on who was their companionship. The Jonin of Team 7 was impressed with his charge's progress. In the 2 weeks since returning from their second mission outside of the walls of Konoha, they had met the goals of the 2-week training he designed. Naruto's skill with the blade was now passable. While not truly impressive, it was all that was needed to still be frighteningly effective. Without his weights, he simply moved with enough speed that even when faced with someone with greater skill, he would have the advantage purely from speed. Kakashi was under no illusion that Naruto could handle a Jonin weapon master, but he would put his money on Naruto to defeat most Chunin in a Kenjutsu duel. That was before he abused the Kage Bunshin to create a swarm of viciously fast katana-wielding clones. Naruto's chakra control had continued to improve through his clones. He is an impressive shinobi. I can only imagine at what level he would have been if he hadn't been stunted through malnourishment and neglect all his life. Sasuke had mastered the shadow clone technique, and the insight the clone provided him after watching him spar was quite beneficial. The young genius rarely made mistakes as it is, but now he corrected them after every spar. Sasuke still lacked the speed to keep up with his eyes, but one couldn't expect to become an A-rank shinobi in just a month or 2. The steady improvement was sufficient. Sakura lacked a Jinchuriki's massive chakra or the incredible powers of a dojutsu, but she was still progressing into a fine shinobi. Despite the massively unfair advantage Sasuke's Sharingan gave him, he actually had to work to pin Sakura down. Her taijutsu movements were fluid and constantly shifting away from the fight at odd angles. Sakura was also becoming effective with using simple tricks at gaining distance. The pink-haired genin used Makebishi, Kawarimi and natural agility to avoid Sasuke for several minutes in one spar, much to the raven-haired boy's frustration. Her chief achievement, however, was the mastery of a genjutsu that could distract or even capture a trained shinobi. The genjutsu masked itself as a Raiten element attack. His student would flash through hand seals and shout Raiten, Mahi, lighting release, paralysis. At that point, lightning would appear to surround her opponent, sending electric shocks that caused their muscles to spasm and hold them in place. In actuality, it was Magen, Genkaku Mahi, demonic illusion, illusionary paralysis, a surprisingly effective genjutsu. Kakashi had laughed when Naruto was first caught in the genjutsu. In between his faux screams of pain, the illusion created some pain, but not to the extent he had been screaming. He had yelled, "What? Sakura has 2 different elemental jutsu, I want to learn too." All the while he was completely paralyzed, and Sakura just had to tap him on the base of his neck with her kunai to win the spar. At the time it was humorous, but shortly thereafter he realized Naruto needed work on escaping genjutsu. Kakashi had spent some time with him learning the Kai release process. With his chakra reserves, all but the most dangerous genjutsu should be disrupted. Of course, the problem with genjutsu was realizing you were under it in the first place, which meant Naruto still had a ways to go. On the positive side, Sakura's illusion was nearly perfect. She used the hand signs for an existing Raiten jutsu but turned it into a genjutsu. Only someone very skilled with chakra detection would be able to determine she was not changing the chakra nature to lightning. Alternatively, they could counter the perceived lighting attack with their own jutsu. When their attack failed to do anything, it might tip them off that they were under a genjutsu. While it wasn't perfect, it was a potentially lethal surprise, and with the speed Naruto and Sasuke had as well as the power of the combined jutsu, it was precisely the sort of jutsu that filled the needed support role in Team 7. Kakashi thought about his team as he reported to the Hokage Tower. He knew what the meeting was about. It was time for the semi-annual Chunin exams. His team was already Chunin in terms of raw taijutsu and ninjutsu abilities. While they lacked experience, their teamwork was quite formidable. While he wouldn't want his team to face a team of seasoned Chunin from an opposing village in the field 3-on-3, he wouldn't have bet against the 3 genin. Several of the other Jonin were there before Kakashi, but he was not late. The last Jonin instructor arrived and the Sandaime Hokage made his announcement. In 7 days the Chunin exams would be hosted. Genin from several villages would compete for the Chunin rank. The Hokage ticked off the villages: Sunagaku, Sand, Omegaku, Rain, Takagaku, Waterfall, Kusagaku, Grass, and even a team from a newly founded village, Otogaku, Sound. Kakashi kept a broad knowledge base of the hidden villages but had not yet heard of Otogaku. They must be extremely new then, Kakashi thought. The Hokage then asked which Jonin senseis were going to recommend their team take the Chunin exams. The Jonin instructors began to declare their teams ready. Guy enthusiastically proclaimed his team was ready and that the team would impress everyone with the power of youth. When it came down to the rookie 9, Asuma spoke first. My team needs to get some motivation. He took a puff from his cigarette and continued, Team 10 is in. There was some surprise at the announcement. Most Jonin did not have their teams participate at the first possible chance after graduating from the academy. Kurenai looked at Kakashi, who was silent and unreadable behind his mask. She wasn't sure if her team was fully ready, but their teamwork was excellent. With the way the Chunin exams were going to be set up this year, a tracker team would have a distinct advantage in navigating the forest of death. Seeing that Kakashi was waiting for her answer, she spoke up, Team 8 will participate. More murmurings could be heard. All eyes then turned to Kakashi. Kakashi shrugged his shoulders, it's too early for my team, Team 7 will not compete. The Hokage almost dropped his pipe. Guy looked at his rival. He was surprised and a bit disappointed, as he would have loved to see his genin compete with Kakashi's. Iruka loudly stated, finally a Jonin with some sense. What are you two thinking, putting your teams through the Chunin exam so soon? Asuma chuckled, it will be a good test for the team. Iruka shook his head and made to speak up again, but Kakashi interjected, Iruka, they are no longer your students, they are our soldiers, it is not your place to challenge this decision. Iruka subsided and the Hokage dismissed everyone except for Kakashi. Kakashi waited and Hiruzen sighed heavily and asked just one question. Why? The son of the White Fang responded, I see no need for my team to be promoted to Chunin. I have no desire for additional leadership responsibilities to be given to them at this time. This team will be a combat team and should stay together for several years. Being Chunin won't change anything for them, so why should I disrupt their training regime for a meaningless title? Sarutobi muttered, the council won't see it that way. They will question your ability to train. No one with any sense can doubt your combat prowess, but they will claim you are not capable of being an effective sensei. Kakashi was not moved by that argument. You are the Hokage, you have final authority on the shinobi force disposition. The council cannot and will not remove me as the Team 7 Jonin. They can make things difficult, Kakashi. Do you not think this would be a good opportunity for your team to prove themselves out from under your shadow? Kakashi shook his head, they will have plenty more opportunities in the future. I also don't want anyone to realize the potential threat Naruto and Sasuke are. A spectacle in front of an audience may lead to attacks to nip the budding potential. While I am confident in my abilities to keep them safe, I cannot be with them at all times. The third Hokage sighed. A headache was already beginning to form at the thought of meeting with an angry council demanding the last Uchiha participate. Very well, Kakashi, I will not override your decision. Kakashi bowed respectfully. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Sarutobi nursed his pipe. It would have been better if none of the rookie 9 had participated. But with teams 8 and 10 selected for the Chunin exam, the council may very well riot. I hope you know what you are doing, Kakashi. Break. Team Gaara had arrived in Konohagakure early for the Chunin exams. Gaara had to suppress the bloodlust flowing through him. He longed to kill in the name of his mother, to prove his existence against blood that was worthy. But he had to wait. The waiting filled him with rage, but outwardly his appearance never changed. His siblings were wary of him for good reason. He was Gaara the Jinchuriki of Sunagakure. The Naruto clone that was currently under a henge to look like a villager saw the three Suna nin. The three looked competent and moved with the practiced ease of an experienced shinobi. The one with the red hair sent a shiver down its spine. There was something very off about him. Naruto was by no means an expert in reading people, but he had two clones just wander and observe shinobi and villagers each day. He started to pick up people's mannerisms, the way they looked when they were lying or when they were scared or angry. What he was picking up here was quite odd. The two taller siblings were very wary about their red-haired leader. Wary wasn't quite the word either. More like outright terror that they had learned to live with. The Naruto clone decided to follow for a bit. Naruto wasn't highly skilled at stealth, but he had picked up a number of tricks from his sensei. This meant it was a surprise when the red-haired boy stopped and turned, looking directly at him. Sand flowed around him and his voice was low and direct. "Why are you following me?" The disguise was that of a civilian villager. The clone responded saying, "You look new in town, I was curious." Gaara merely responded, "Stop or I will kill you." The threat was made so matter-of-fact that it stunned the clone. An outside shinobi threatening a Konoha citizen with death for being curious. Naruto decided not to press the issue but would report it to Kakashi when he dispelled. Ino was irritated with her one-time friend and now rival. Though her opinion of Sasuke was damaged, she had rationalized that maybe he had been in a bad mood that day. Having to get stuck with Naruto and the forehead would drive even the kindest of souls to distraction. The reason she was irritated with Sakura was because Sakura still hadn't come home. The sun was already setting and she wanted to find out if Team 7 was also going to be in the Chunin exams. Where could she be? Just when Ino was about ready to give up and head home herself, she saw the pink-haired Kunoiki turn toward her home. Ino huffed and crossed her arms and said, "Where have you been?" Sakura was a bit taken aback by the sudden question. She hadn't agreed to meet with Ino today, so why was she blaming her? "I was training." "Why?" Ino looked surprised. "Training? This late in the day?" Sakura nodded. "I want to get better and be useful to my Sasuke-kun." Ino gave a condescending laugh. "My Sasuke-kun doesn't need any help from you." Sakura rolled her eyes. "Why are you here anyway?" Ino huffed again and said, "I just wanted to see if your team is also going to be part of the Chunin exams." Sakura shook her head. "Chunin exams? Kakashi-sensei hasn't told us anything about that." "Wait, are you saying your team is going to participate?" Ino stood a little bit straighter. "We sure are. I guess you and Naruto are dragging down Sasuke-kun so badly your sensei didn't nominate you." She sighed dramatically. "I feel so awful for Sasuke, having to put up with you too." Sakura had the urge to kick her friend in her haughty face. "You don't know anything, Ino, just go." Ino had not wanted to start a fight. She had secretly hoped that Team 7 would also be in the exams. At that point there was no easy way to save face, so she just harumphed and stalked off. That didn't go very well. I really shouldn't have been so mad that she made me wait. She didn't even know I was coming. Oh well. Sakura had gained some perspective, and to be honest she had missed her friend. Kakashi-sensei taught his students to see underneath and then look underneath the underneath. That type of dedication and awareness to one's surroundings had made one thing painfully clear to Sakura. Sasuke hated fangirls. The way she and Ino had acted had filled the boy with contempt for them, not love. And the way they competed with each other had driven in a wedge between her and Ino, her first friend. At the moment Sakura was too tired to even think about it. She just wanted to eat and collapse asleep. Her training kept intensifying more and more, and she knew despite all of her hard work her two teammates were pushing themselves even harder. "I will be strong, not just for my Sasuke-kun but for Naruto and everyone in the village." Team 7 met the following morning. Naruto immediately reported the strange genin from Suna to Kakashi. Kakashi was a bit surprised. "He actually threatened to murder you in broad daylight if you kept following him." Naruto nodded. Kakashi had a few theories on this. Either the boy was braggart who was all bark and no bite, a borderline psychopath, or extremely powerful beyond that of most genin. "Good work, Naruto. I'll make sure we keep eyes on him while in the village." Security has been increased due to the exam, so the Anbu forces are a bit stretched, but it will be doable. I'll also see if I can dig up any information on him and his team. Sasuke had not realized the Chunin exams were here. He had focused solely on his training and had for the most part ignored events occurring in the village. Are we going to be competing in the Chunin exams, Kakashi-sensei? Sasuke kept an even tone, but he longed to participate. The training surpassed his expectations, but he had a strong desire to fight without being babysat by his sensei. Kakashi looked at Sasuke and asked, "What do you think?" Sasuke took the challenge for what it was and replied, "Yes, we are ready." Kakashi just looked at Sasuke impassively. Sasuke was shinobi trained, he didn't fidget, but he was uncomfortable by Kakashi's flat look. Kakashi allowed the silence to drag on for a minute before he finally replied, "Tell me what you really think." My actual guess is that we aren't all part of your plan to have us be underneath any notice," Sasuke finished in a frustrated tone. Kakashi condescendingly clapped his hands. The logic is simple to follow, Sasuke. By following through with my plan, you are better positioned to avenge your family and rebuild your clan. And yet you are still angry with the decision. Explain yourself, shinobi. Sasuke forced himself to keep a respectful tone. I have no way of knowing how I compare to others. I need to know I am the best, because if I'm not, I need to find out how I can be the best, otherwise I'll never do what I need to. Kakashi scratched his mask as he answers, so comparing yourself to the weakest of the shinobi ranks will determine if your skills are where they need to be. Quit twisting my words. I need to prove myself. Sasuke's respectful tone had left rather swiftly. Sakura was concerned at the heat coming from her Sasuke-kun's voice. He was angry and his frustration was boiling over. You don't need to do anything, Sasuke. You are a soldier under my command. You have been a shinobi of this village for less than 6 months. Do you think this is the only opportunity you will receive? You want to compete because of your pride, not because you have coldly analyzed the advantages and negatives for competing. Sasuke wanted to retort, but Kakashi held up his hand. It is that kind of thinking that makes me certain you are not ready for the Chunin exams. Yes, this team would probably crush all of the other Genin teams out there. So what? Being a Chunin is more than just your ability to fight, it is also about making the right decisions. You are allowing your pride and emotions to cloud your judgment. You aren't ready to become a Chunin. Sasuke forced himself to calm down. Kakashi was always testing him. If he blew up at him, he would just be validating Kakashi's decision. A shinobi did not yell at his superior. Sasuke took in a deep breath. Thank you for clarifying your decision. I see that you are correct and I respect your decision. Kakashi moved with every ounce of his speed. If Sasuke had his Sharingan active, he would be able to see the movement, but even then it was doubtful he could have stopped the blow. Kakashi slammed his fist into Sasuke's stomach, driving the wind completely out of him. He lifted the genin off the ground with the blow, and then while the boy was still in midair, he hit him with a spinning heel kick that sent Sasuke crashing into a tree. Sasuke gasped like a fish for air. He crumpled toward the ground only to be caught by Kakashi by the front of his shirt. Kakashi pinned him to the tree and fixed him a one-eyed glare. I told you not to lie to me, Sasuke. On our very first day of training I told you not to put up a false front. Disagree with me if you like, but do not attempt to deceive me. You don't respect my decision. I can sense your deception even before you spoke. Sakura gasped at the harsh treatment Sasuke-kun was receiving. However, she knew interfering would only embarrass him and solve nothing. Naruto kept his expression even and did his best to avoid moving at all. Sasuke got his breathing under control. What do you want from me then? Kakashi released him and backed up, giving the boy some space. I want your honesty as well as the appropriate level of respect. I don't expect you to agree with my decisions if you disagree with them. I would have accepted something as simple as, I disagree, sensei, and will do my best to prove myself in the next 6 months. Kakashi paused. Instead you choose to lie and pretend I had convinced you of my decision. I am here to train your chakra, body and mind. Do not parrot words you think I want to hear. State your case cleanly and respectful, but never lie to me or your team. Sasuke was angry at himself now. Kakashi had warned him about this before. He was only worsening his position. The decision had already been finalized. All he had done was earn the ire of the person best suited to train him. I apologize, Kakashi-sensei. I should not have lied to you. Kakashi turned to the other two, and what about you two? What are your thoughts on not being able to compete in the Chunin exams? Naruto answered first. I'm disappointed, Kakashi-sensei. I see the value in keeping strength hidden, but it's hard to see my classmates compete while I'm stuck on the sideline. Sakura chimed in, I think I need more training anyway. Naruto and Sasuke are ahead of me and I'd probably ruin their chances against the experienced teams anyway. Naruto responded, no way, Sakura-chan. That's not how a team works. You play a support role. It's not expected for you to go toe-to-toe with the frontline components of the team. The three shinobi stared at Naruto. Naruto rubbed the back of head sheepishly, what? I read it in 2 different books on the appropriate roles for a combat team. This team has 3 ninjutsu taijutsu specialists. A 4th wouldn't add any synergy. Having a genjutsu specialist is even better than another frontline fighter. I can show you the book if you don't believe me. Kakashi couldn't help but laugh. Naruto, it's fine, thank you for supporting your teammate. Sakura, I have no doubts this team could handle the Chunin exams, but by doing so everyone would see the team's abilities. That is my concern. Seeing that the team needed some cheering up, he said, since you are not in the Chunin exams, that gives us time to do a C-rank mission. That did brighten the team's disposition as their sensei began to explain what they would be doing. Hinata Hyuga was nervous. Her team had entered the Chunin exams and she did not want to let Kiba and Shino down. The test in front of her scared her. They would pass and fail as a team. Thankfully her dojutsu was perfect for this type of exam. She located someone confidently writing answers and copied them with her Byakugan. She had already finished the 9 questions on the exam and that left her time to think. She had not seen Naruto-kun in the exam area. That must mean Naruto's team was not selected for the Chunin exams. If they aren't ready, how am I ready? All of the genin in here are older and wiser than us. I know Kiba and Shino have worked very hard, but I'm going to bring them down. Hinata was working herself up to greater heights of worry and anxiety as the minutes of the exam trickled down. Abiki Morino then introduced the 10th question. Hinata gasped. If she got the last answer wrong, Kiba and Shino could never become Chunin. As long as someone wrote the answer down, she would just copy it, but what if it was different? This question was a curveball. Maybe there was another twist. Maybe each person had a different question that was given to them. Hinata was sure that Shino would pass, but she also worried about Kiba, who didn't have a skill to help him copy answers like she and Shino did. And even if we all answer the question correctly, I'm still way out of my league here. I can't ruin Kiba and Shino's careers. I have to raise my hand. Perhaps if there had been someone to distract her from these thoughts in the exam room, things would have gone differently. But without that distraction, Hinata raised her hand and her team was dismissed. Shino inclined his head toward Hinata. While disappointed, he knew she had acted based on a desire to help her team. Kiba was not so understanding. Kiba growled, what the hell were you thinking, Hinata? We've failed the test because you were too scared. You're pathetic. Hinata bowed her head in shame at her teammates' angry words. Shino put a hand on Kiba and said, enough. Kiba pushed Shino's hand away and stalked out of the building furiously. Thank you, Shino-san, Hinata stuttered out. The Aberrane simply nodded and walked with Hinata as they went to find their Jonin instructor. Shikamaru saw Team 8 leave and was tempted to follow course. While he knew there was no 10th question, it sure would be a drag to have to continue competing in the Chunin exams. While he was considering the pros and cons to not having to do the exam versus Ino's shrill screams, the proctor announced they pass. How troublesome. Team 7 returned from a rather simple C-rank mission on the 5th day of the Chunin exams. They would be allowed to watch the preliminary bouts that the survivors of the Forest of Death had to fight before the 3rd portion of the exam. The other genin would not know they were there, as they would be behind a false wall above the 2nd tier of the battle area. It was a blatant favoritism shown to Team 7, however the Hokage could see the advantage of having Sharingan observers pick up any jutsu that was used. Kakashi was a regular observer to most Chunin and Jonin exams. Hiruzen saw little reason to exclude the rest of Team 7 when Kakashi made his request. Sasuke had given thought to his spat with Kakashi and realized he really had acted like an idiot. Kakashi was remarkably straightforward with his team. He clearly outlined what he expected of them at every turn. Work as a team. Train hard. Don't lie to him or each other. Hide your strength. Work as a team. Kill swiftly when required. Don't take chances. His sensei had succulently explained why these were of vital importance. It all followed a logical pattern. All Sasuke had to do was follow the instructions and he would be granted power through training and new jutsu. And twice now he had risked his sensei's wrath. Why? Why would he risk one of the great assets he had at his disposal? The training and support of the Leaf's most elite Jonin. The shinobi who had copied a 1000 jutsu. Kakashi taught him to analyze himself with the Kage Bunshin, and at the same time he taught him to analyze his own actions and the reasons for them. Why did Sasuke care about competing in the Chunin exams? He wanted to say it was because he needed to find out how strong he was. He wanted to say that it would allow him to test himself against other powerful shinobi. But looking inwardly proved that false. Kakashi had taught him to see things as they are, not as he wanted them to be. He faced the truth. He wanted to revel in victory, personal victory, not just a victory for his team. He wanted to stand triumphant, to have other people acknowledge his power, the power of the Uchiha clan. With this new piece of self-discovery he considered its importance compared to the stated goals he had. Destroying Itachi and rebuilding the Uchiha clan. If his third goal was pride and adulation of the village, was it more important than his initial two goals? No, it isn't, it's pure vanity. Realizing this didn't mean it wasn't a desire for Sasuke. He would bring pride to the name Uchiha, he would be the Uchiha most remembered by history. But he should also go about it in a way that maximized his chances. The Sharingan did not make him invincible. He could be killed in battle before he achieved any of his three goals. If the world knew that he had an unlocked Sharingan, he could be the target of ambitious villages like Iwa or Kumo. If they wished to war with Konoha in the future, it would be in their best interest to eliminate a true heir of the Uchiha clan. Kakashi had showered them with stories of powerful shinobi with vast potential who were cut down before their prime. Sasuke shook his head, trying to clear his thoughts. He thought so different now than he had a few months ago. It was almost like he was a different person. The overt analysis of every action he made, the actions of those around him, and the potential ramifications of everything he thought or did gave him a new outlook. In a way it was exhausting, but he knew it made him stronger. He cleared his head and ordered his priorities. Kill Itachi. That was still more important than rebuilding his clan or showcasing his power to the village. After that was rebuilding his clan. And finally it was to showcase his talent to Konoha and the world. Kakashi-sensei had been right about everything so far. He would follow his game plan and become stronger. When the time was right and Team 7 was disbanded, he would do things differently, but he would keep the lessons Kakashi had taught him. Mind clear and ready to fulfill his role, he walked in with the rest of Team 7 to stand with his sensei behind the false wall. He listened to the Hokage's brief speech and saw Kabuto's choice to remove himself from the Chunin exam. That left 14 genin. Too many for the finals, and it was decided that there would be a series of 6 battles, with 2 byes, that would automatically progress to the final rounds. This would leave 8 contestants to fight in the last stage. The contestants were mostly from Konoha. Guy's team, Team 10, and Kabuto's team made 8 from the Leaf. Team Gaara from Suna was there, as was the team from Oto. Sasuke was interested in seeing how Neji fought. As another dojutsu user, there might be much he could learn from how Neji used his bloodline. The genin also was curious about Gaara. He had heard Naruto's report of the boy and was intrigued. Sasuke grinned at the possibility of learning new jutsu with his Sharingan. He looked intently at the board as the first names populated. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.